Welcome back to the Journey to the FarLands. All right. Okay, let me go ahead and get out of here. Make sure there's nothing unpleasant about. And then stop up the doorway. Get rid of some of this extra junk that I don't need, like this, and yeah, that actually should do it for right now. All right, heading onwards this way, towards the west, onwards to the FarLands. All right. Okay, yeah, it's been quite a long time since the last episode, which was on October the 30th, which is right about the time I started feeling mega bad like crap, and ended up backing off on almost everything I was doing. And it feels really good to get back into this and get back to heading off to the FarLands, making a little bit of progress every now and so often. And what I want to do with that is, regardless of anything, I want to see if I can arrange to actually make sure to always have at least one episode per week, regardless, so that there will always be some forward progress going on. I figure that's a reasonable thing to do. In other news, another reasonable thing to do is the traditional opening episode stats information. So here we are. This is the 166th episode for December the 8th of 2018, and to date I have so far traveled 504 Minecraft days as of the end of the previous episode. So that makes this the morning of the 505th Minecraft day of this journey. And, oops. If the sound was a little funny up until now, it's because I only just now remembered to plug in my headset, which is kind of a shame. And the reason for that is I have to plug the headset in so that my microphone doesn't pick up the sound out of the speakers and make it sound kind of weird. Yeah, the idea is I want the microphone audio on its own track without the game audio so that I can clean up the microphone track and make it sound good. Yeah. All right. Any hoozle. Moving on. The size of the world as of the beginning of this episode is 6,109.6 megabytes. Not bad. Getting along there. I know making a backup copy of the world, it now takes a little over 5 minutes to do. Let's see. Shears, get the axe out as well. Makes sense to grab up a little bit of wool and wood as opportunity presents, lest I should run out of either, which I've come close to doing a few times. Anyway, and then of course there is the fundraising goal of this whole thing. The idea of is to raise funds for Child's Play Charity, an organization that gets books, toys, and games to kids in hospitals all over, to kind of take our focus off of all the scary stuff about why they're there and what's going to happen and being done while they're there and all that, you know, to get them in a situation where they'll have an easier time getting to feel better. and so on. I think that's a very worthwhile thing. And so it's definitely worth donations. The goal, the fundraising goal for that is $6,346.45, of which currently the grand total between, when I first started this, I was using a chip-in widget, and then chip-in went away. And so I ended up switching to a widget from Child's Play Charity themselves, which is what I should have done in the first place if I'd have thought about it or looked a little further. I would have discovered that and used it to begin with. But the grand total of donations at this point, $62.62 on the old chip-in widget, and $1,012.86 on the Child's Play widget, for a grand total of $1,075.48 raised for Child Play Charity during this journey so far. And my goal, of course, is to reach the fundraising goal. And when that happens, I will find some way to do some kind of a live stream event in which I proceed to make more progress and walk for however long I can keep up a live stream going. And at the end of which, find a suitably epic location for the official pressing of F3 to find out how far I've come since the last time I did that. And I'm really seriously looking forward to that. So, yeah, it's something I really want to get doing sometime. And who knows? Anyway, towards that end, right now, that $1,075.48 donated so far equals 16.95% of the goal. And so that means that, hey, it's something that you can actually see is going to happen eventually. In fact, only 527 more $10 donations and we'll be there. That's really cool. Yeah. Okay, well, with assorted update stuff out of the way, yes, it's been since October 30th, since the last episode, and I really wish that it hadn't been that long. I don't like going long times between episodes. It really feels kind of majorly lazy to me to not get out episodes much more frequently than that, because, hey, it's not like it's a hard thing to do, you know. Start the sucker up, start walking, go for 3 Minecraft days, and talk along the way. What could be easier? I don't know, falling off a log? Literally? Yeah. And so I am starting right now with some new resolve about a guarantee of at least 1 episode every week. Preferably 2, ideally 3 or 4. But, you know, sometimes you just don't have that much talk in you. At the very least. And so sometimes it's easier than others, we'll say. It's easier sometimes than it is others to actually get in here and talk about whatever for what adds up to about 30-35 minutes that it takes to do that 3 Minecraft days. And in answer to the question that some have had in the past about why do I do 3 Minecraft days? Because, well, honestly, it's kind of a a judgment call about, I could go longer, but it's a judgment call about trying to keep the video to a reasonable length. The 3 Minecraft days has it come out to about roughly 30-35 minutes, like I said. It makes for a decent amount of progress in the episode, and doesn't let it get too hideously long, so as to cause people to look at how long the video is and say, I ain't doing that. You know, because a lot of people will. If a video is longer than they like, they just won't look at it. And so I figure 30 minutes is kind of a standard for game videos in general. Let's play videos and stuff like that. 30 minutes is kind of a standard amount of time for those. So I figure something close to that is good for these episodes as well, because while it is more of a vlog, or some would say podcast, than actual gameplay, it's a vlog or podcast or whatever that takes place within the world of Minecraft. And I figure that's a perfectly reasonable thing. And that also is, by the way, the reason that this happens on my vlog channel instead of on the gaming channel. Although I have to admit that on the gaming channel there would be a lot more potential viewers, because this vlog channel has, I don't even remember right now, I think around 4,000 subscribers. And the gaming channel, the last time I looked, had about 23,000. So, yeah, it would probably get more exposure there, but it's been here from the very start, and I think changing what channel it's on would be overall counterproductive and perhaps confuse-making and so on and so forth. So I'm going to keep it here where it is, and keep up with the roughly 30-35 minute episodes, with occasional freedom to, if I'm on a roll talking about something and I'm not ready to stop, maybe go for a 4th day, or OMG, maybe even a 5th. But as a rule, 3 days, roughly 30 to 35 minutes, and just go with that. And yeah, it works. And besides, if I knew I was going to go for much longer episodes, then that would have me a lot more worried about having enough talk to last that long. Because really, I seriously kind of doubt that something like this, in which I'm just walking west to the FarLands, something like that without running commentary would not be something that very many people would be interested in. Granted, maybe there might be a few that would watch it just simply because they might think it's relaxing, but what do I know? I'm just, in that regard, I'm going along with what I would watch, something like what I'm doing, I would watch. And in fact, I have watched, because, as I'm sure most people know, Kurt J. Mac did this first, and he started it, and I have watched most of the, over 700 episodes that he's done of FarLands or Bust. And so I figure if I'm willing to watch that, and a lot of other people are willing to watch that, then if I keep my Journey to the FarLands of similar kind of length, that I figure that will be less likely to discourage viewers because they think things are too long. And having too many people think that your stuff is too long is a bad thing. That's not something you want to have happen. Yeah, because that's when they start stopping the video and going to something else. And you really don't want that, because on YouTube, minutes watched is king. It really is. You know, they used to say that views was king. Nope. Views is important, but minutes watched is really the king of the whole thing when it comes to analytics and how important YouTube thinks that a video is. Anyway, one of the things that helps me a lot is responding to questions or comments and whatnot in these things. And there have been a few lately. Please note, I have to say right off the get-go that I actually do read all comments. I read all of the comments I get on this vlog channel, and I read all of the comments written on my gaming channel. I don't necessarily always reply to everyone because, well, let's face it, there's enough of that going on these days that I could never possibly hope to keep up with all of it. Because if I did, I'd never do anything else. There's actually that much going on comment-wise these days. And, of course, a lot of comments are the kind of things that don't really necessarily need a reply. Well, like, for example, when somebody makes a comment early on after the video is published and says, first, there's not really a whole lot you can say to that. Not really. I mean, I appreciate the enthusiasm that expresses. You know, that's a certain amount of enthusiasm for liking the videos and enjoying it and being anxious enough to watch that they actually are kind of heated up about being the first to do so. And that's cool. That is. But, yeah. And so on. There's other sorts of comments where people just kind of say something about something, but it's not something that I actually feel a response to. I do respond to a fair number of comments, I like to think. But in any event, there's been some recently on recent vlog videos, because here in December, I've got this thing going where I want to have a video up on this channel every single day of December 2018. And so far, I'm kind of managing it. This is December the 8th. This is the 8th video for this month. And if I'm not mistaken, well, you might have seen it in the beginning of the episode after the title that a number came on that said 2018 dash and then another number. And I believe that number is going to be about 101, maybe 102, something like that. Might be 100, I don't remember. But that is the year and the number of videos that I have done so far this year. Which means that January 2019, that's going to reset. It's going to become, instead of 2018, it'll say 2019, and it'll reset back to 1 to start with. Okay, let's see. Can I get over this? Yes, how about that? And I need to go this way because that's the only way I'm going to find a way to get through without having to climb even higher. I don't like climbing into the cloud layer. Yeah, that's... And I'm actually fairly close to that now. And now I head back to sea level. Yeah. But recent comments. Let's see. In no particular order. In a recent video comment, Seth Tan said, and I quote, "I need TFC to cosplay Gandalf with that beautiful beard." I'll tell you a little secret. I've noticed that resemblance more than once myself. Have I ever dressed up as Gandalf? No. If I ever had the need to and the necessary resources, I could probably pull it off. I think people would spot it right away. And that would actually be kind of funny. All right, another thing that'd be kind of funny would be getting a sleeping situation put together before night gets any farther along, so that hostiles do not have the opportunity to spawn. Yeah, that's one of the ways that I avoid hostiles is sleep every time it gets dark, so that I don't have to deal with that hassle. Because I have not died in the entire time of this journey, and I would like to kind of keep it that way. Although, just in case that should ever happen, that's the reason that I leave the bed wherever I sleep, so that it will be there as a respawn point, and I won't be set all the way back to the beginning, which would, well, let's face it, that would be very tempting to cause a rage quit. To come as far as I have, and to suddenly find myself back at original spawn. No, no, no. That's a long ways back. And, of course, it would probably take another, 504 Minecraft days, 505 or 6 by now, to get back to this point. Nah, don't want to do that. So that's why I leave the beds there, which people have asked a time or three along the way. All right, get through this. A lot of times I end up going over things like this just simply because I like to try to keep the journey as straight-lined as possible. And I know I'm not always very good about that, but I figure if I go over something, that's a whole lot more straight-lined than taking this huge long detour around. Although sometimes the detour around can be very well worthwhile in finding some genuinely screenshot-worthy terrain. Yeah. Anywho, let's see. Okay, another recent one. Jared Bueller asks, do you record your vlogs with a standalone camera? Absolutely. My camcorder is it's a Toshiba Cameleo X100. And it's a very good camcorder. It records at like 4 megabits per second. So it does pretty decent quality video. And it is capable of recording 1080p. I don't generally do 1080p because the bandwidth issues that raises, because 1080p makes the files so much bigger and take so much longer to upload. And especially in the case of a normal vlog, I don't really see that it needs 1080p. Although I got to admit, I really wish that I had internet fast enough that I could just go ahead and do everything in 1080. I really do. And someday I will. Trust me, someday it will happen. And you'll start noticing that all of a sudden everything I do is coming up in 1080. That would be great. If I could do 1080p 60 frames per second on game videos, I would. Or rather, if I had the bandwidth to be able to upload them in a reasonable amount of time. I can do them now. It's just that it would take too long to upload. And, that just doesn't work. Because as slow as my internet is, when I'm uploading something, I can't use anything else that does internet. And that's kind of crippling in terms of what you can do. But the camcorder, it's a good one. Toshiba does pretty good electronics and camcorders and stuff like that. This one has been very good for me in the time that I've had it. And who knows, maybe someday I'll switch it into 1080p mode and leave it there. But it'll be a while. I do have a webcam on my laptop, but it's not what you would call a good webcam, because the maximum resolution it does is 320 by 200, as in, that's tiny. And the microphone on it is terrible. Horrible. And on top of that, my laptop is, I got it in 2010. It was one of the last models that shipped with Windows XP Pro on it. So that gives you a little bit of an idea. This thing is like 8 years old now. And honestly, I'm almost surprised that it still works sometimes. And would I ever update it to Windows 7 or anything else? Probably not. Because I don't really use it very much anymore. It's still there, and I still keep it available, but very little of what I do these days will still run on it. In fact, that was the machine I originally started playing Minecraft on, and that worked okay for a while, but the built-in Intel graphics POS that it had kind of sort of died a little bit. Not so much so that it doesn't work at all, but it can't handle Minecraft anymore. I mean, I could start it up and actually load into a world, but the frame rate would be less than 5 frames per second, and no. I mean, I'm getting 140, 150 frames per second right now doing this. So no way in the world am I going to go back to 5 frames per second. That's just, no, that's never going to happen. Let's see. I'm maybe digressing or rambling a little bit here, but I guess that's not necessarily a horrible thing. Get past this. And let's see. Oh, yeah. In the last episode of Journey to the FarLands, I was talking some about Elite Dangerous. And one of the things I did was kind of give some information about where I was, how far along I had gone on my trip, and how much farther I had to go to reach the outbound point, Beagle Point, the place that I'm headed outwards to. And so I thought maybe I could update that now. First of all, since I started playing Elite Dangerous, which was, I got it on the 27th of May, 2017. And since then, I have logged 1,439 hours in that game. And actually 0 of those hours have happened in the last 2 weeks or so, because I haven't even started the game in that time, which is a little aggravating because I really kind of hoped that I would get to Beagle Point before Christmas, and I don't think that's going to happen, which is not necessarily a super bad thing. I just kind of, a few weeks ago, had set myself a goal to try to do that because I thought the distance was travelable in that amount of time. But because I haven't done anything with it due to not feeling up to it, it's a little less likely to be able to travel that distance. But the distances involved currently 56,961.78 light years from Earth, which puts me mostly on the other side of the galaxy somewhere, which is kind of cool. I have in that time, because I'm traveling kind of a course that it curves around the galaxy as the ship travels. I'm traveling along one of the galactic arms, and that means my course is going to take a curve, and so far I have traveled, let's see, 92,855.37 light years since leaving dock, since the last time I undocked the ship. And let's see, the distance remaining in order to actually arrive at Beagle Point is, let me look at my note here, 20,599.11 light years. That's a good long distance, but since I am currently these days using keeping my waypoints, my navigational waypoints, 5,000 light years apart, I figure not bad. And I easily make that trip in, well, it's 4 or 5,000 light year 4 or 5,000 light year waypoints, and they're I could get that done in probably 3 or 4 weeks if I was up to putting in a few hours every day. But in the meantime, I have reached the end of the 3rd Minecraft day, and I need to sleep before there's 87 zillion monsters out there. So, thanks for watching. Be sure to stop by TinFoilChef.com, where you too can donate to Child's Play Charity, which is donating to a worthy cause, and also helping reach the goal and bringing us closer to an F3 moment. Thanks for watching. Take it easy. I am out of here.